Yeah, Tesla Q4 production estimate. We doing this or what? It's going to be about 419. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla weekend. How is everybody? Did we make it? Are we here? Are we in the chat? And all that good stuff. So this number is already out of date because I went ahead and added the semi in. So let's skip the drama, shall we? World's got enough clickbait. Let's see if anyone's in here. There we are. Howdy, gang. Yeah, so here's what we got. Numbers. Yeah. Math. Spreadsheets. So what are we looking at? Well, I took the difference, the growth, 12%. I said Fremont S and X are up 12%. Wait times are down on S and X. In fact, they are available. They are in inventory kind of everywhere. And I think we're going to see a price reduction on those because the refresh wasn't quite as refreshing as some buyers had hoped. You know, before the refresh, you could have got your Model S for, what was it, $69,420? Something like that. And now it's $104,000. It's a different car, but is it a $50,000 different car? Some people believe it is, some do not. Anyway, production up a little bit. There have been some exports, but we'll see. Fremont 3 and Y, just doing the same thing I've always done. Let me double check that. Yeah. What did I do? What? I'm not sure. Yeah, so I'm just looking at the incremental change over time. Fremont's still got some efficiencies that they can draw out, that they can use to improve their numbers. It's getting slightly better. We're always approaching the maximum, but we're approaching it. We're not there. And this might be a tad optimistic, but I am confident that if it is overshooting, it'll be made up for in other factories. Shanghai 3 and Y, I'm coming in low compared to everybody else out there, 217,500. And even that, I believe, is plenty high. So we know what the first 2 months are. October, November, 87,706 and 88,654. So for December, I'm saying it's about half that. It's about 41,140. And that's because it has been real quiet, so quiet in Shanghai. A lot of ships have gone out, and we're not seeing the factory running all the time. But we know there has been some shutdown. But even before that, some parts may have been constrained coming from other parts of China. And the factory just hasn't been as busy. So when I invested my time to do the counts I do, they gave me very dire numbers. The factory was not busy. But it was slow enough that I'm not confident that my estimation skills scale in a linear fashion to get us quite where we're going in terms of that. So I still think that's a reasonable number. Berlin Model Y, well, that's too low. We know they hit 3,000 a week. That right there would be 36,000. We know before that they had a week when they hit 2,500. Yes, but we don't know that that those rates were sustained. Something Tesla famously does is when they hit a milestone, they'll do stress tests. Can we get to this many? Even if just for a little bit. Do a burst rate. So I think these numbers are accurate. And I did put the 420 in there just to be a smartass. It was actually, my real number was 25,400, but I was like, hey man, I get one. Texas Model Y, it's a few thousand behind. And then, of course, I had to add the semi, 36 units. 37, what is it? It kind of doesn't matter. I was going to leave it off, but I figured it's pretty good. So that puts me at 419,088. Now I do my numbers before I look at anyone else's, because I'm always afraid that other people's numbers will impact mine. There have been quarters where I have been the outlier and I was wrong. There have been quarters where I was the outlier and I was the only one who was right. But I'm right in the ballpark. And what I put out a day or two ago was actually lower than this. It was 417 was the number I put out on Patreon. 417, 500-ish was the number I put out on Patreon. But that was, but I went back and looked at Shanghai, and that's where my revision came. I revised Shanghai upwards. I think based on feelings, not math. Based on, I think it's going to be, 41,000 for December is more accurate than what I had before. So I've now looked at the other analysts, and I'm low. I am like the lowest of anyone that I saw. And I've seen one production estimate of 450. I hope that one's right. That would be so... I hope that everyone else who is estimating higher is right, and I hope that I'm the one who's wrong. But look at this compared to previous quarters. 305, that was a good quarter. 258, Shanghai was kind of shut down for that. 365, a record. 419. I don't see going from 365 to 450 in a quarter. That seems like too large of a jump to me. It's nice that we're no longer battery constrained. It's nice that the chip shortage appears to have eased, unless your car has a blue oval on the front of it. So that's where we're at. Those are my numbers. So, let's thank everyone who's watching this over the weekend, and thank the patrons at the same time, because we're going to get into the Q&A. We're going to go over the comments and all that good stuff. Yeah, it's good enough. I'll be redoing how the Patreon stuff looks soon. So, that's a $30,000 price difference. Yeah, you're right. But it depends. 104 something. Yeah, so it's like 35,000. Yeah. Do you think Tesla's growth is malignant or benign? Tesla's still got a lot of room to grow. The growth is exciting. People say, well, we can't sell infinity numbers of Ys and 3s and S's and X's, but we don't have to, because we're about to start selling millions of Cybertrucks. And in a couple years, we'll start selling millions and millions of compacts. Or something else. A van. Who knows? There's a lot to go on. And it doesn't just need to be more of the same unit over and over. There are other ones. And I still think the compact is going to be not a car, but 3 cars. On one platform, designed in the 3 different design studios, Texas, Berlin, and Shanghai. Each with something that's very specific to their market that they will love. That's what I think. Brian's long-range plans go to 11. Okay. How is everyone? You excited for the end of the year? Do you have any resolutions? I've already started on mine. Mine are to be less grouchy all the time. No, I'm just kidding. That's something I can't commit to. No, I won't go into it. It's not important yet. Everyone is only high on life. Yeah. Yeah, my track record is pretty good. Thank you, you apologist. Smack it to like, you filthy humans. Greenpad says, thanks for including the semi. Yeah, why not, man? I mean, we gotta kind of do that. Huh, that interestingly held out just fine. Emily Hopsy says, I'm guessing 500,000 plus. That would be very cool. I think we could have gotten over 450 if Shanghai hadn't slowed down, and if Berlin got their third shift earlier in the quarter. But ramping is work. It's something Tesla has figured out pretty well, but it is still work. We got great time. How much impact on car loans do you figure rates will have? Oh, I think the EV credit will be enough to make up for it. That's my guess. I think if Tesla is concerned with spurring demand, that they will turn the heat on. That they will, that they could better use their money to buy you a lower interest rate, to do Tesla financing and pay your points for you to get you the lower interest rate. I think that would be a cheaper deal than discounting the car, and it would allow you to keep your prices high while not hurting your buyers in terms of their payments. Any prediction on how tax credit will affect the numbers? I think it will make Tesla more immune to recessionary problems. They're already selling every unit they can make. They're already making as many units as they can. That continues into the new year. They're going to just keep making them as quick as they can and selling them. So this means that they'll not need to reduce price as much, because there'll be money coming in on the back for the batteries and on the front for EV rebates. So I think it will have a positive impact. I think, barring a recession, Tesla would sell the same number either way, with or without the EV credit. With it, it makes them recession-proof almost. And I'm not convinced that this recession is going to be as bad as some people believe. Okay. I don't know what you mean by that, Charlie. They pulled a model earlier in the quarter in the U.S. Oh, the Model 3 long range? I presume they did that to bring it back with a rebate price. Did they? Interesting. I don't remember that. Charlie Stinson, I looked at my heater like, why did you just beep? Yeah, that's my heater. Because it is, it's 55 degrees in here, which is 14 degrees Celsius. Not too bad. Tesla up 5% this week. I hope everyone thinks this is the dip they were waiting for. Dollar cost average, man. If you gave me $10,000 and said I'm looking to just invest it, I would invest it here. And you know that, because I bought some shares at that's not it. I bought some shares recently at 281, only 3 shares, and another 36 shares at 184. Those are all in my IRA. I sold out of Arcimoto to get those 3 shares, and I sold out of, I don't remember, Triple Q maybe? Yeah, Triple Q to get those 36 shares at 184. And I'm not upset about it. But then again, I also have quite a low cost basis on the first ton of shares. 36 semis is still more than GM delivered fourth quarter of 2021. Oh, GM. Yeah, but they're losing money on everyone they sell, and they will continue doing so for at least another, what'd they say, till 2025, 24 at least. That makes it really hard to increase your sales. If you know that you're going to lose money on every one you sell, what are you going to do? Sell more? Lose more? It's really tough. Ufologists, resolution is to pay off the T3 and save for cyber. If China's in a bad way, Texas and Berlin will ramp up faster. Will they? Is that something they can do? I think their supply chains are quite different. There's been a lot of talk about where will the next gigafactory be? and I've long said it's going to be in Shanghai. They're just going to build a second one there in Shanghai. And I'm increasingly thinking that's unlikely. There's too many eggs in one basket. When Fremont was not producing, Shanghai was. When Shanghai was not producing, Fremont was. If you've got 50% of your global capacity in one city, it makes it, you need to diversify. So I think the next factory might be in a Asian location that is not China, or just somewhere else in the world. Ufologist is only 14,000th in line. Booked a reservation 10 minutes after the unveil, but I ordered a try, so who knows. I think if it's a variant they're not selling right out of the gate, they'll give you an opportunity to switch. I think that's something that they would do, because it's their fault, not yours. But also, I don't know. My heater again. $35. Let's see. 23. I hope 23 is kinder to Tesla investors. I think it will be. By the way, get your questions in now. What are your thoughts on these numbers? Where am I missing? And am I missing in the wrong direction? Ufologist has trailing buys from 188 to 111. So you're above water on some of them. GM, the butt of all jokes until they go bankrupt. Yeah. MD Hofsty says, well, Lucid is trying to do that. Do what? Oh, is that from before when we were talking about cost controls? Probably is. We were talking about who is likely to be in some kind of trouble. The consensus was Rivian, Lucid, all the three-wheel manufacturers, specifically Aptera and Arcimoto. Arcimoto is having real trouble. Aptera still has a lot of upside. There's a lot of excitement that Arcimoto simply doesn't have right now. John points out, GM is the butt of all jokes until our taxes bail them out. Again. And by the way, all this talk about, Tesla is only successful because they got all this government money. So no, they didn't. The Department of Energy loan was a loan. They paid it back early with interest and a prepayment penalty. You know how many people did not repay that loan? They were unique in that regard. And the EV credit, that's available to everyone. You and me, we go out, we start our own EV company. We could have got that same credit for our buyers. So that's everybody. That's the same thing. Why aren't we talking about all the bailout money that Chrysler and GM got? Or how Ford was able to reorganize out of so much debt in their head fake bankruptcy. So they didn't actually file bankruptcy, but they did renegotiate outside of bankruptcy. So, Nikola bankrupt 2023? I don't know. If interest rates come back down, if the cost of money gets better, they'll have more runway. They've got... they could just, their production is doing good. They could increase their price, maybe increase the price. If you've got any room to go up, do it, because every dollar you charge is a dollar you don't have to borrow later. The stock's got to come up before they do another offering, or they're going to be giving away too much of the company for not enough dollars. And we were talking a little in the pre-show chat about how I think Nikola is well positioned because even though they're just assembling parts made by other companies, for the most part, it does appear they're making their own batteries, or at least assembling their own batteries. There's a lot of room for markup on electric big rigs at the moment. It may change, but at the moment, there's way more buyers than sellers in the electric big rig market. Tesla Department of Energy loan good, but Nikola Department of Energy loan bad? I don't remember Nikola's Department of Energy loan. Tesla's was good because they paid it off in full with interest. And you can't call that a gimme because they paid it back. But then again, there are people who look at the sum of all money paid to SpaceX by NASA and say, that's money Elon just put in his pocket. No, that's money the government saved. Because the alternative is to pay 30 to 70% more for the, or sorry, SpaceX launches are 30 to 70% less than launching with anyone else. So the government saves money every time they use SpaceX. That's not money that goes in his pocket. That's buying something from him, not giving him free money. But you know, the haters, man. And it's crazy. This last week, I see this so much on Twitter and Reddit and everywhere. The people who hate him so much finally have some legitimate ammo to use, and they're still saying, well, the cars burst into flames and kill children. What are you talking about, man? Are you trying to make the haters look like nuts? Because you are. According to the state of Arizona, Nikola is manufacturing trucks. Why do you use the wrong words? Because they're assembling trucks. I don't believe the state of Arizona differentiates between manufacturing and assembling. What's the difference to them? Tax-wise, it's the same thing. Those are Iveco trucks, and everyone knows that, and that's okay. That's not a problem. That's fine. Spoiler alert, Elon's the real Batman. He's not a Batman that I'm aware of. Any EV company that is selling their products for less than what it costs scares me. GM, Lucid, Rivian. Lucid especially. Get your costs under control. Rivian, yeah, boy, they just did not understand. They promised a vehicle that would make that would be everything to everybody and just be, and you can do that, but it's going to cost you. And GM, remember when they used to make the Cadillac of cars? Now they make the Cadillac of cars. Are you sure there's like Rocket Lab aren't cheaper? Rocket Lab has different capacities. Oh, Rocket Lab is cheaper than, well, yes. United Launch Alliance and Rocket Lab have very different offerings. So Rocket Lab does very small launches that you wouldn't necessarily do on a Falcon, and definitely wouldn't do on a ULA. Iveco trucks are reliable. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that to be true. I'm not familiar with any notorious brand of big rig, so but I'm also not familiar with too many of the brands. So ULA charged $240 million for the same thing a Falcon 9 could do for 60. Yeah, so that's ridiculous. They've since lowered their price some. My son asked me, because I said, how long do you think rockets have been landed? And he's like, oh, I don't know. Since forever? And it's been, 5 years? What was it? 2017 was the first landing, I think? 2018? 2017 was the first landing. And now they've landed, 160 times? 60 successful SpaceX launches this year alone. And he said, why didn't anyone ever land rockets before? And I said, because what the rocket costs ain't my problem. That's your problem. Give me money. And if you're the only game in town and no one else is doing it, why do it smarter? Why do it better? Why trim costs? If we make this thing cheaper, it's not like we get to pocket all of it. So let's make it more expensive and pocket a smaller percentage, but more dollars. You guys know. 61, is it really? Oh yeah. Is it really? 61 launches. That's right. It's hard to land rockets. They make it look so easy. The one I watched today was the one out of Vandenberg with the return to launch pad and return RTLS, return to launch site. And it was so beautiful. It just landed so perfectly in the circle. The other day, they had one, they landed out on one of the drone ships in the snow. It was snowing. And I was like, well, snowing, rough seas. Let's see how this works. It's not quite as much in the center, but it still nailed it. Truly wonderful. Exciting times. SpaceX makes it look so easy, the landings become boring, and I watch them all. Charlie, I watch them too. And I also watch them in real time as if I'm seeing it with them. If it's coming up, I'll put it on, set a reminder. But if I miss it, I still watch it, and I still watch it live. I don't watch the deployments anymore. I shut it off after the landing, but I will watch it in real time through there, because as cool as it is, it never gets old. Ufologist says, I'll never buy another brand vehicle. Cyber may be the last forever, even. Yeah. I wonder if SpaceX uses LiDAR for landings. I don't believe they do. I'm not sure. I know they do use LiDAR for the docking with the space station. So that's fun. 728. We made it. Deployments are no longer shown, just retweeted. They shut it down after the landing, I guess, huh? Yeah, it's interesting when there's a new customer, because the customer wants to get their ad in before the launch, their promo reel, and I get it. I would want to. I'd absolutely want to. And then sometimes they'll, oh yeah, stick around for the next 3 hours and watch us get up to the elevation the altitude so we can deploy elevation. It's a big hill. It's a big hill. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you hanging out. 419-088. We'll see how we did. It'll be soon. We'll know. I hope I'm wrong. I hope everyone else is closer than me. But these are the numbers I came up with. Maybe I should start cheating. Maybe I should just wait until the company compiled consensus comes out, and then just be like, yeah, that's my number. Did Lars have any info on Berlin third shift? Well, if he did, he didn't share it with me. I thought that they had started the third shift, but I could be mistaken. That's my recollection off the top of my head. So, all right, guys. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you hanging out. Happy New Year if I don't talk to you again in the next not very many hours. And yeah. Stay tuned. Stay juicy. I can't wait to hear from you. Clever robots in 2023. Good grief. When did that happen? Oof.